Hey there, I'm Avip. Welcome to the audiobook of my fanfic, Muitiverse Crafter. I don't own RWBY or any of its characters. This is a non-profit fan project made just for fun and shared for free. All rights belong to their original creators. Before we start, I want to let you know that since I'm not fluent in speaking English yet, the narration is AI generated. I hope you still enjoy the story and the world I've created. Thanks for listening.
Chapter 34 The Battle for Menagerie III, Queen's Move. Point of view, Arthur Watts. As I enter the Queen of Grimm's throne room, my heart races with fear. I knew I had to report to her that the weaknesses I had placed in the Atlas system had been purged, and my contacts had either been captured or fled the kingdom, fearing a similar fate. The thought of another person, a genius hacker, manipulating everything behind the scenes filled me with dread, almost as much as facing Salem herself with the bad news. Unable to meet her gaze, I walk with my head lowered until I kneel before her as I near the throne. Your Majesty, I begin, my voice firm but trembling inside, I have news about Atlas. Cold sweat drips from my forehead as I wait to be answered by her cold, powerful voice, but after several minutes of silence I receive nothing. I swallow my fear and hesitation, slowly lifting my eyes to encounter a horrifying scene. Salem sits on her throne surrounded by seers, grim creatures resembling jellyfish that she typically uses as espionage drones, but now the monster's tendrils are embedded in her flesh, pumping what seems to be red energy into her body. Despite the Queen of Grimm showing no signs of pain or discomfort, the veins in her face and neck throb as if they were about to explode. By the gods, the words escape my lips, drawing the attention of another being in the room. She is surely divine, my dear Watts, a voice cackles, emerging from the darkness of a pillar. Tyrion, I question, surprised. Tyrion Callow's manic laughter echoes through the chamber, sending a shiver down my spine. His laughter is frenzied, and his eyes gleam with a wild, insane light. I take a step back, trying to put some distance between us, but Tyrion quickly closes the gap. His tail lashes the air menacingly as he advances toward me. I can see the poisonous barbs at the tip of it gleaming in the dim light of the chamber. Arthur Watts, Tyrion growls, his voice shifting from cheerful to low and threatening. May I know what you wish with our goddess? My heart pounds in my chest as I try to think of the best way to respond. Tyrion is Salem's most fanatical servant, and he is known for his brutal methods and unpredictable temper. I came to update your Majesty on the situation in Atlas, as she had asked of me. I affirm, my voice trembling. Once he realizes that my presence is by Salem's will, Tyrion reduces his intensity slightly, satisfied with my response. But I see I must come another time, since she is indisposed. I continue, returning my gaze to her throne. Yes, 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 Tyrion exclaims, clapping his hands cheerfully. Our goddess felt an ancient and powerful grim awakening, but due to the great distance, she couldn't pinpoint its exact location. I look at the seers, the creatures pulsating with red energy, their ethereal forms flickering as they connect to Salem. The sight is both fascinating and terrifying. The energy flowing through them seems to amplify the already imposing presence of the Queen of Grimm. So, I begin, my cautious voice reflecting my apprehension. The Grimm connected to her, they're amplifying her influence. Tyrion spins toward me, his eyes glowing with an intensity that makes me step back once again. Ah, Watts, always so insightful, he says, his voice a mix of madness and admiration. Yes, the seers are amplifying our goddess's influence. They are her eyes and ears, extending her reach beyond what we mere mortals can comprehend. But why is she doing this? I ask, curious. In response, the scorpion assassin steps closer to me, the stinger of his tail swinging dangerously near my face, enough that I can smell the acidic scent of his venom. I stay firm, trying not to show my discomfort. Tyrion continues, his tone shifting to something almost serious. Cinder's plans are delayed, and the probability of them succeeding is lower than yours of surviving my venom. Huahahaha. My stomach churns with the manic laughter punctuating his veiled threat. Our queen is seeking alternatives, and this humble servant is here to ensure no one will interfere. The assassin finishes, removing his stinger from my face. I adjust my clothes, smoothing out the lapels of my suit as I try to regain my composure. Tyrion's threats shake me, but I try not to show it visibly. I maintain a cold, calculated expression, despite the cold sweat running down my back. What kind of grim did our queen sense? I ask, my voice firm, no trace of fear. Tyrion, still wearing that manic grin, steps closer once more, his eyes gleaming with an almost childlike excitement. Curious, aren't you? He asks with a wide, intimidating smile. It's a leviathan grim, ancient as monstra. Point of view, Ordra Taurus. I gritted my teeth and continued to fight as the swarm of raptors advanced. Behind me, I could hear Sienna's orders to retreat with the soldiers out of ammunition. We had to hold these monsters off long enough for them to get organized. The Pride of Steel, dressed in their powerful armor, were a blessing that literally fell from the sky to help. Few of them were real fighters, but the thick plates of their armor could withstand the Terror Raptor's bite without even a scratch, turning the small grims into insects crushed by their hands and hammers. Roars a single-headed Terror Rex approaching. The problem now is just the big grims, I muttered, frustrated. But before the creature could get any closer, something hits it in the face. Jaune Arc, a familiar voice shouts from above, "Grow." A red wooden staff stretches, hitting the creature directly in the eyes, making it take a step back. What the hell is that? I ask, stunned. Then the staff anchors to the ground and begins to shrink. When I look at who is on the other end, I can't help but smile. "Took you long enough, Nikos," I exclaim, waving at the redhead coming down to the ground. With the help of the staff, Nikos had managed to cushion her fall after jumping from a transport jet I hadn't seen before. "It's not my fault," the redhead complains, brushing the excess sand off her clothes. "I'm babysitting 14 prisoners in power armor and 4 robots." "Robots?" I ask, curious. "KABOOOOM." I turn toward the explosion and feel confused and relieved when I realize it's in the middle of the grim, followed by more explosions. Booms, 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 booms. When I look at the cause of the explosions, I'm surprised to see a mohawked chicken robot holding a black fuse bomb in each hand, similar to ones in old cartoons. "Nikos," I murmur, jaw dropped. "Where did that thing come from?" "From the same place those 3 did," the redhead answers, pointing in another direction. My eyes widen at the carnage. The 3 robots are bringing down upon the grims. RIP-VRM, RIP-VRM. A red robot was throwing circular saws within human speed at the enemy forces. With each saw, it killed 3 raptors before they lost power and fell, while for the larger monsters, it was able to slice off one of their legs, leaving the chicken robot to finish them with its bombs. In another corner, a robot with a yellow head and red limbs was throwing giant rocks as if they were tennis balls. POW crunch, POW crunch. At first, the rocks seemed to fall randomly, but the last orange one was shooting concrete that hardened in less than a second, creating instant walls that funneled the grims and delayed their advance. "Now, if you'll excuse me," the redhead said, wielding her staff, "I need to take out my anger and frustration on an army of grims." Surprised by the reinforcements taking over the battlefield, I begin to laugh with relief. With the arrival of Boudica Nikos and her fighters, this battle went from a lost cause to a possible victory. And if my idiot blonde angel has anything to say about it, I turn, staring at the dread shadow in the distance, writhing in pain with explosions coursing through its body. We've already won. Point of view, Jaune Arc. I wake up drenched in sweat, my vision blurry and my ears buzzing. "Fuck," I complain, getting up, not realizing the straps are loose. Fortunately, everything clears up quickly, and to my surprise, I discover that my vision is sharper than ever, the smells are stronger, and my hearing is picking up sounds and noises that were once imperceptible to me. It feels like I woke up in a world with better resolution. I comment, astonished by the changes. Is this because the extremis virus upgraded a body that had already been modified by the super soldier serum? As soon as I take a step forward, I notice that my boot had exploded from the inside out. What? I look down and realize the reason. Am I taller? "Cool, right?" Church asks, appearing in front of me. But this time, he's not a hologram projected by my Stark Tech watch or an AR image projected on my scouter. He looked like a realistic action figure of a Spartan II in blue armor, holding a sniper rifle. With wide eyes, I extend my finger, trying to interact with the little figure. "Don't even think about it," the little being exclaims, floating in front of me. Hee hee, I chuckle awkwardly, scratching the back of my neck. Sorry. With the help of the virus, you've undergone an enhancement process, blending the Spartan AI program by Dr. Catherine Halsey and Project Freelancer by Dr. Leonard Church. The implants in your brain are what allow you to see me as real. It will also help guide you while you fight more effectively. Wait a second, I ask, surprised. Do I have all the modifications from both projects? Not everything, but some of the best hits from each. Church comments, projecting a model of my body but transparent with organs and bones visible. You're too old for the full process from Halsey, and I don't have all the resources needed to implant what the director did with the freelancers. The extremis virus, guided by me, along with the extra nutrients from the senzu bean, helped a lot, but I don't do miracles. I'd like to ask more, but a beastly screech reminds me of the situation we're in. I frown immediately, turning back to Church. Keep updating me while we fight. Roger that, the AI responds, saluting. I walk to the cabinet, grab my bag of holding with some magical items inside, and then test my equipment to see if it still fits. The clothes and armor are stretching without tearing and don't hinder my movement. I say, testing my equipment. The sword and the lawgiver still fit in my hand, although uncomfortable. Now the shield. I look with regret at the first item I created with magic in this world. Maybe I can adjust the straps with Ruby's help, but for now, it didn't fit on my arm. Next time, old friend, I mutter sadly, leaving the shield behind in the cabinet. Equipped with my sword, gun and backpack, I head to the cargo ramp of the Black Bird. Fly 20 meters, 65 over the dread shadow. I feel the ship move and take out 2 green emeralds from the bag of holding. Hope you guys obey me, I mutter, breaking the jewels in my hands. As they start to glow, I release them, their light illuminating the darkness around us. But before they could touch the floor of the ship, 2 strange figures emerged from within them. They were made entirely of swirling white and grey winds, their shimmering ethereal forms in the dim light of the Blackbird's interior, standing over 3 meters, 10 feet tall. These are air elementals, and they looked at me as if awaiting orders. Awesome, I exclaim, flashing a wild smile. When I jump, you're going to guide my fall, make me land on the bird. In response, the beings swayed what seemed to be their heads, as if agreeing with what I said. After that, each of you is going to one of its wings, try to destabilize it and bring it down. But even if you don't succeed, keep trying to hindering it. The beings once again responded with a confirming swaying. I need your help, Church. Just say the word. The AI responds, excited for the fight. Want a battle plan, enemy info breakdown, or a review of your enhancements? Play Kickstart My Heart. Seriously, the AI asked, irritated. On the ship system. Seriously, the AI shouted, frustrated. Instead of responding, I throw one leg back and place both hands on the ground, as if in a starting position. Even though Church is angry at my request, Motley Crue's music started playing on the ship. When I get high on speed. Top fuel, funny cars, a drug for me. My heart. Kickstart my heart. The elementals, sensing my intentions, move to my side, dissolving their humanoid forms while covering me with their winds. Always got the cops coming after me. Custom-built bike doing 103. My heart. Kickstart my heart. As the music echoes through the Blackbird speakers, I feel a rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins. Subconsciously, my implants are helping my body prepare for battle. Ooh, are you ready, girls? Ooh, are you ready now? My muscles tense, ready to launch me forward at top speed. My heart races, pumping blood and oxygen to every part of my being. Everything around me seems to slow down, as if time itself had slowed, but it's my perception and reaction that are accelerating. Whoa, yeah. Kickstart my heart, give it a start. Whoa, yeah. Baby. I shoot forward at full speed, faster than I've ever run in my life. 2 tornadoes surround me, propelling and guiding me as I leap. Whoa, yeah. Kickstart my heart, hope it never stops. Ooh, yeah. Baby, yeah. LERYJNKIS. I scream, laughing loudly, falling towards the dread shadow. The wind howled in my ears as I fell. My skin felt the resistance of the air as if it were liquid. Not knowing whether this was caused by the alteration in my nervous system or brain, I enjoyed the strange sensation with my eyes closed until I felt the tornadoes around me slowing my fall. "It's showtime, motherfucker," I exclaim, landing on the back of the monster. "Skyyyyyyyyyyyyyyk," the beast screeches, writhing, trying to throw me off its back. Trying to avoid that fate, I throw myself forward, grabbing a clump of feathers hard as steel with my right hand and pressing my feet into the creature's back. At that moment, I realized I forgot one small detail. "I'm still barefoot," I mutter, spending my aura to activate my semblance, summoning what looks like a dark grey cork gun into my left hand. Guess I'll go John McClane on this shit. Running with a low posture and my right hand pressed against the creature's back, I leave a series of X's along the dread shadow's spine until I reach its skull and leap forward, landing on the monstrous vulture's beak. It stares at me with its left eye, that massive orb measuring 3 meters in diameter. With my right hand gripping the beak, I show the small gadget and speak before pulling the trigger. "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." Then all the X's on the dread shadow's spine, drawn with the bat explosive gel, detonate. Boom, 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 boom. K. Dread shadow agonizes, feeling its back explode in several spots. "Ha, I blew your back out." I mock the monster, dematerializing the Batman gadget to draw my sword. Flame on. The creature's eyes widen as it sees my flame ignite near its eyes. "Moredmonio," I scream in Portuguese, driving the sword into the monster's eye. "Hiiii." The creature shrieks, finally beginning to fall. The monster must have been over 20 meters long from head to claws, which is why it was so difficult to destabilize. But with the elementals on its wings, the explosions in its spine, and now the burning puncture in its eye, it had no other fate but to fall into the sands of Menagerie. With the certainty that the creature would fall, I manifest a parachute and jump away from it. At a safe distance, I pull the cord. As I float, I can't help but feel a sense of pride wash over me. Although it's not dead, the dread shadow is a formidable opponent, and I'm happy to have grounded it before it could cause more damage. But I still have to finish it, I murmur, checking my aura level that Church has displayed in my vision. 99.83%. Not bad, I say, pleased with the number. Confident in my aura reserves, I manifest in my hand a white and blue board, appropriately sized for me. It's the extreme gear used by the blue hedgehog in the game's Sonic Rider Zero Gravity. I step onto the board and feel my body float. I dissolve the parachute and fly toward the grim lying in the desert of Menagerie. As I approach the monstrous creature, I feel discomfort on my skin, something I haven't felt at any point in the fight so far. Just a moment ago, the creature was thrashing and agonizing, but now it was still, lying in the sands of Menagerie, making me suspect something was wrong. Up close, I notice 2 things. First, the monster is not disintegrating, meaning the dread shadow is still alive. But the thing that catches my attention the most is that the creature seems calm. "Too calm," I murmur, concerned. I slow my approach, circling the body until I'm in front of its face. Just like its spine, the eye has regenerated, I mutter in frustration. Even though I'm frustrated with the regeneration of the creature, it's nothing compared to the behavior that takes me by surprise next. "Mwahaha," the giant grim laughs. The laugh echoes across the desert, sending chills down my spine. It's a guttural, low, unearthly laugh as you'd expect from a monster like that, but it's also feminine. "Little pawn of Ozma." The voice resonates, coming from the dread shadow's throat. "No matter how many generations pass, my old lover, your pawns keep trying." Something seems to suffocate me. I feel a pressure rising throughout my body, a presence similar to what I feel when I hold a dust crystal while absorbing it. But while dust crystals could be compared to glasses or buckets of water, in front of me I feel a whole ocean. And they keep failing. She ends by pointing out with disgust and disdain evident in her tone. With my heart pounding, I didn't need to think for more than a second to understand who was in front of me. "Salem," I murmur, feeling my blood turn cold. Author's note: I just wanted to send a shout out to this legend who left us in 2023. Kentaro Miura, I hope to see an anime adaptation worthy of the full scope of your work. Chapter 35, The Battle for Menagerie IV, Dragon Slayer. Point of view, Jaune Arc. I've been anticipating this encounter since I woke up in this world. All the training, equipment crafting, alliances, friendships, plans, super soldier serum, and the extremis virus were all for this moment. Salem, I murmur, my blood turning cold. Upon hearing the name, the titanic vulture, now a puppet of Salem, stares, its red eyes glowing more intensely than before, reflecting the presence of the Queen of the Grim analyzing me. How quaint, you display a flicker of wit, uncommon among most of Ozma's pitiful thralls. The voice, a raspy feminine tone laced with ancient power, echoes from the throat of the monster rising before me. Please enlighten me, child, who are you to stand before me? The supernatural weight of Salem's voice hits me like a freezing wave, paralyzing my muscles as a sudden insecurity overwhelms me. Her magical presence, big enough to fill the deepest chasm, passively burdens me. Until a few minutes ago, I would have thought it was absurd for just one person to wield such raw power. But I can't falter now, but I also can't give too much information either. I think quickly in silence, searching for an escape, especially about my abilities. A smile spreads across my face as a stupid idea blooms in my mind. My name is Non-Eof, from the Your Business family. The grim bird tilts its head with curiosity and irritation, its red eyes glowing with an intensity that makes me sweat cold. None of your business, I explain, giving a forced laugh. Some pause from the creature body, like flames bursting from a raging demon as Salem roars, the sound reverberating through the sky, carrying a primordial fury that makes the air tremble. The cry of the dread shadow echoes, amplified by the presence of the Queen of the Grims. The shockwave hits me with force, making me take a step back, but I stand firm, teeth clenched, muscles tense. Insolent fool! Salem's voice thunders, the bird's eyes gleaming like beacons from a blood-soaked abyss. You dare mock me, you pitiful, unwashed scrap of mortality. She sneers as her magical pressure mounts on top of me with its full weight. Ozma's taste in pawns has grown even more foul, I see. Are her aggressive intentions alone enough to paralyze me? I think, swallowing hard. I can't freeze now, I need to do something, prove to myself that I'm capable of affecting her. Focusing my resolve, I decide to throw at her the biggest insult I could think of. Me pitiful, I ask with an ironic grimace on my lips. Pitiful is killing all your children in the middle of a lover's quarrel. The monster in front of me stops moving in response to my speech. Unlike the ground that begins to shake under the Queen of the Grim, the vibration under my feet worries me, but before I can identify the source, Salem's voice comes from the beak of the dread, shadow lower than before. How dare you? The cold whisper envelops me, laden with a lethal threat. My eyes widen, my heart beats unevenly. The ground shakes harder, and I struggle to maintain my balance. How dare you? This time the voice is louder, reverberating through the air, making my bones vibrate. The tremor intensifies, and I look around, trying to understand what is happening. That's when I see it, the army of Grims coming from the city toward us, running toward Salem with more purpose than when they wanted to destroy Cutuquana. Fuck, 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 I complain, taking 6 gems from my backpack. I've played enough video games and watched enough anime to know what's going to happen. How dare you? Salem's furious roar explodes into the air, the force of the voice hitting me like a shockwave. As the army of Grims approaches, their grotesque forms accelerate with a terrifying speed. I break the pairs of red, blue and brown jewels I just picked up in my hand. Destroy as many as you can, I shouted, throwing the cracked gems at the horde of monsters. Pairs of giant fire, water and earth elementals began to form, each over 3 meters, 10 feet tall. Wasting no time, they advanced upon the monsters with explosions of fire, pillars of stone stakes sprouting from the sand, and torrents of water crushing them. Thanks to the elementals, I am in a safe bubble without the presence of Grim, but those who pass by me continue towards Salem. Crashing into the monster on the giant monster, their bodies liquefying like pitch from pure black entropy. The dark mass moves with red eyes, beaks and fangs pulses with a malignant energy that makes my stomach churn. A stench of decay and death fills the air, almost suffocating. As I watch horrified, as the black substance leaps onto the body of the dread shadow, enveloping it like a grotesque second skin. Growing, the Leviathan grim flesh and bones distorts, breaks, and rearrange like a demonic tumor. Red veins spread across the black skin, pulsing with a life of their own. Dread Shadow's body continues to contort, muscles expanding, bones stretching into impossible shapes, jutting out with grotesque spikes and saw-like edges. The sight is visceral, repulsive, and just wrong. Now the monster is an abomination, a grotesque black bird with bulging muscles and chaotic bones sprouting like extra limbs. Each movement is accompanied by wet, disgusting sounds. The stench intensifies, a nauseating mixture of rotten flesh and sulfur. The air around me seems to bend, distorted by the malignant presence. Your bones shall ornament my throne. Your skin, stretched and treated, will grace the marble beneath my feet. Your flesh shall nourish my favored beasts, your blood shall flavor the goblets of my court, and your soul, she whispers, releasing a low, velvety laugh laced with dark delight, will never know peace, a fitting end for Ozma's latest failure. Truly a grotesque sight, combined with the whispered threat, makes my stomach churn. My instincts, enhanced by aura and modifications, scream for me to run or surrender to the force before me. But I won't back down, I think, swallowing my fear, nor will I surrender. Church, I exclaim, gathering my courage. Always by your side, kid, the AI responds, knowing what I'm going through. Like they say in your country, she may be big but she's not two, you are small but you are not half. The old Brazilian saying brings a smile to my lips. Grab the sword. The fuck are you talking about? The AI says, its tone confused. It's on your waist. The heavy sword, I reply, smiling. Laughing, the AI disappears from my sight. Ghar. The chaotic mass of black flesh and bones stumbles toward me, unable to fly or run. The grotesque sight of the abomination coming toward me is a nightmare that defies all logic. I take a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline coursing through my veins. My aura pulses, responding to the imminent danger. With a thought, I manifest shadow air shoes on my feet for the second time since coming to Menagerie, preparing for battle. I'm not going to run barefoot in the desert. Above the monster, the black bird fires a missile toward me. My eyes widen, but I don't panic. Halfway through, the missile shatters, its charge detaching and falling beside me, casting a shadow over my body. Nice church, I exclaim, a smile spreading across my face. Faster than Amazon. I extend my hand, grabbing the hilt of the fallen sword. My fingers close around the cold metal, and a shiver runs down my spine. The weapon is enormous, nearly 2 meters, 65 f in length, and weighs over 130 kilos, 300 lb. Huge, thick, heavy, and rough, too big to be called a sword, more like a chunk of raw iron, Church says in my ear, quoting the original source. In my hands I wield a sword made to kill dragons, so its name is Dragon Slayer, I whisper with a wild grin. A tentacle from the monster lashes toward me. Slap. But thanks to my reflexes and instincts, sharpened by intense training with port and body enhancements, I quickly dodge before running toward the dread shadow. The same cannot be said for my elementals, who are crushed with one blow. I can't let her hit me, I need to be quick. As I dash across the sand, I mentally pat myself on the back for creating the air shoes for this fight. I glide over the terrain without worrying about getting stuck. I am filled with a sense of total freedom, as if I were skating calmly, except that I'm in a battle with a titanic abomination while carrying a surfboard-sized sword. With the speed of a hypercar, I circle the monster. The creature tries to strike me again with its multiple tentacles. Slap, flack, snap, crack. But I'm too fast. As I slide, a plan starts to form in my mind. The tentacles are fast but predictable. I think without any problem maintaining my speed while concentrating. The main body is large, full of bubbles and lumps at an angled incline. Church, I call, invoking the AI in my HUD. I need maximum power in my legs. I'm going to try to end this with one strike. Got it. I feel my leg muscles heat up as they contract with small shocks. The extra power makes my body vibrate, the adrenaline pulsing in my veins. Show time, I yell excitedly. With an explosive thrust, I shoot forward like a white and golden blur to the monster's main body. Tentacles and even claws try to stop me when I reach the giant, bloated, grim mass, but with my enhanced senses, I can dodge them even at this insane speed. Shadow's shoes stick to the creature's body with ease at my speed, making it easy to climb the monster while circling its body as the wind whistles in my ears. The landscape becomes a whirlwind of distorted colors and shapes. Tentacles, claws, maws, and spikes sprout from the dread shadow body, whipping and advancing around me, trying to reach me. But the enhancements, serum and aura working together, is too much for the monster. The intoxicating sense of freedom takes over my being, as if I were dancing with death. I climb faster, the spiral tightening. The muscles in my legs start to burn with the effort, sending waves of pain down my spine, making my brain throb inside my skull. "Hold on," I whisper, gritting my teeth, blood dripping from my nose and ears. The center of the dread shadow's body approaches, filled with grotesque bubbles and lumps. The sight is repulsive, but I keep my focus. I need to deal as much damage as possible. I think silently, moving closer to the head, but how will I stop myself when I get into a good position to attack? "Die," the monster roars, turning its head towards me. "The beak," I shout mentally as soon as I realize what I need to do. I'm going to use it to break myself. With my legs burning from pain, I push them further, forcing my limits. Everything becomes a blur until I collide sideways with the creature's gigantic beak. Crack, crunchy. My bones roared in pain at the impact, strong enough to snap the dread shadow's neck in a sickening sound echoing across the desert. My world is consumed by an explosion of pain. I can't even think about moving due to my damaged bones. "Fuck," I mumble in pain. "I'm on it," says Church, forcing my dislocated bones back in place through the implants. "It wasn't a cure, but you'll be able to keep fighting." With my mind starts to clear without pain, I stand on top of the monster's beak that has already begun to regenerate. The creature was already finishing healing, leaving my heart heavy with worry. However, the weight of the sword I was carrying reminded me of the potential for destruction I am capable of now. "Hyag," the screeches at me. I spit out the blood that has accumulated in mine, crouching down to run once more. Quickly my body and implants light up, preparing my body for another run. Black tentacle flesh and atrophied arms come together from the creature, forming a giant hand throwing itself towards my direction to grab me. With a smile I ignore the giant appendage, as I am ready to attack. I shoot like a bullet racing through the creature's beak. The wind howls around me, cutting my skin like invisible blades. In my muscles and bones is intense, but adrenaline keeps me focused, every muscle tense, every nerve at full alert. As soon as I leave the beak, I thrust Dragon Slayer at the Grimm's red eye. "ITBURNS," Salem screams in horror. "Why, this body is not mine, but I feel in my soul burning." I would like to celebrate the sword's effect on the evil queen, something that I wasn't sure would even remotely hurt her, but I need to do more damage. I hold the giant sword with both hands and keep running, ripping through the monster's flesh, opening a deep cut that releases a jet of black, viscous blood onto my body. My feet would slide over the wet black flesh, but the air shoes kept me stable as I shot forward at a dizzying speed, circling the creature in a single line, carving deeper into its black flesh with each rotation. Even with the sword lodged in the monster's flesh, I'm faster than before. The sensation is surreal, as if I'm defying the laws of physics. The air around me starts to condense, forming water droplets that cling to my body, creating a visible mist cone. It's a phenomenon I've seen in jet documentaries, and the realization hits me like a punch. I'm running at Mach 1, I think, surprised. The sight is hypnotizing, but I can't let myself be distracted. The sword continues cutting, leaving a large tear that keeps growing in the creature as I sink into its putrid black flesh. "Why isn't it healing?" Salem's voice echoes with fear instead of the usual primal malice. "Is it the sword? Where did you find it?" The flesh around me begins to slow me down even though I keep running, ignoring Salem's questions, keeping my focus on my goal. "Carve this bitch like a turkey." Light begins to fade the deeper I sink, my senses overcome by the darkness, stench and dampness of the Grimm's interior, and still I run. The creature's body begins to writhe and convulse, placing the weight of its muscles on top of me, as if it's trying to expel me like a zit. Fatigue and pain begin to weigh even more. Afraid that my effort will be in vain, I call Church to help me finish. "I need more power in my arms and back, now." In response to the mental command, I feel the same sensation of activation that I had in my legs traveling up my back and arms. I would roar if not for the risk of drowning in rotten black blood as I raise my sword. I bring the blade down in a large arc in front of me, putting all my strength into it. SWHIIICH. The impact is deafening. The sound of metal against bone and flesh reverberates through the desert, echoing like thunder. The force of the blow dislocates both my shoulder, a sharp pain running through my arms making my teeth grind. The sword sinks deep into the monster's flesh, separating the flesh from where I am buried, bringing back light and fresh air. "I've got this," Church exclaims, controlling the implants, forcing my bones back into place once more. Dread Shadow roars in pain, its gigantic body cleaved from the final cut. I feel all my strength drain from my body, but my feet, equipped with the air shoes, keep me firm as I start to fall slowly. "You motherless bastard," Salem roars from the desert sands, her voice filled with fury and shame. "You'll pay for this outrage, even Ozma was never so foolish." The monster lay cut in half, with its vulture skull half disintegrated. With a tired smile and a firm grip on my sword, I deactivate my air shoes and fall. Dragon Slayer cuts through the air, its sharp blade gleaming under the desert sun. With precise aim, I fell thrusting the sword on its other eye. TWACK. The puncture is deep, the Dread Shadow's head tilting back, as a jet of black, viscous blood spraying into the air. The monster begins to tremble, its gigantic form speeds up its disintegration. The Dread Shadow's body falls apart, but I don't stop, I keep stabbing the sword cutting through the black flesh with ease. TWACK/crash CPOP. "Stop," Church pleads in my ear. "You've won, you can stop now." I take a deep breath, fresh air burning my lungs. Sweat trickles down my face, mixing with the blood dripping from my nose, ears and eyes. My body shakes, every muscle screaming in exhaustion, but adrenaline still pulses through my veins, keeping me upright. Blown away, I look around. The Dread Shadow is now disintegrating before my eyes. Pieces of black flesh fall into the desert, turning to dust before hitting the ground. The wind carries the particles, scattering them through the air like a dark mist only to disappear forever soon after. Reality hits me, breaking my concentration. Did I win? I question, disbelieving. Did I really win? My body gives out, my knees buckling. I collapse to the ground, the hot sand cushioning my fall. The impact sends a wave of pain through my legs, but I barely feel it. Exhaustion takes over, every breath a struggle. My blood cools in my veins, the adrenaline slowly dissipating. The feeling is strange, as if I'm waking up from a feverish dream. I look at my hands, trembling and covered in sand. The sword, the Dragon Slayer, rests beside me. I won. The words come out in a whisper, almost inaudible, but the realization fills me with an indescribable pride. I lift my head to the sky and shout, "I won, damn it!" The shout echoes through the desert, filled with triumph and relief. I celebrate proudly, my heart pounding in my chest. The feeling of triumph is intoxicating, like a powerful drug. But just like the adrenaline, it begins to fade, leaving me deeply exhausted, and my vision starts to darken. "Church," I call, my voice weak, almost a whisper. "What's going on?" "You pushed yourself too far, kid." Church's voice echoes in my mind, filled with concern. "Your implants drained a lot." "Why isn't my aura healing me?" I ask, confusion mixed with a hint of desperation. "Your aura's broken, Jaune," Church explains, his voice serious. "You were using it to power your implants as you put those on overclock. And then, when you impacted against the monster's beak at Mach 1, the shock was too much. Your aura broke." The information leaves me stunned. Weakness spreads through my body, every muscle trembling with exhaustion. The lightheadedness intensifies, as if I'm about to pass out. I'm going to die." The question slips out in a whisper, fear tightening in my chest. "No," Church responds, his voice calm and reassuring. "You're just going to sleep for a bit. Your body needs rest to recover." The darkness closes in, my vision growing more and more blurred. The sensation of lightness takes over, as if I'm floating in a dream. I grunt, losing consciousness. "Go rest, kid, you deserve it." Point of view, Arthur Watts. Salem, usually a figure of icy composure, is hunched over, her fingers digging into the arms of the throne. An open wound runs across her left eye as thick black liquid drips from it. My stomach churns, but I keep a neutral expression. I try to take a step forward, but Tyrion extends his hand, stopping me. I turn frustrated toward the scorpion Faunus, but I don't protest, as he has a worried look on his face. The killer scorpion seems to be in an internal struggle, deciding whether to follow his goddess's orders or to help her. "No, she screams as a cut begins to form on her neck. Salem's body slumps, still seated on her throne. The grim seers disconnect their tentacles from her, leaving her alone. I watch the scene with a mix of fascination and revulsion. The Queen of the Grim, always so powerful and imposing, now seems fragile. Tyrion approaches cautiously, his eyes locked on Salem. The tension in the air is palpable, as if the very environment is holding its breath. "Goddess," Tyrion's voice is a trembling whisper, like a child begging for their mother's attention. The insane assassin extends his hand, his fingers trembling just inches from Salem. Time seems to slow down, each second stretching into eternity. Suddenly, Salem's eyes snap open, glowing a bright red like burning embers. Black tears trail down her face, leaving dark streaks on her pale skin. She rises, her body shaking with rage, and lets out a roar that echoes through the room, a primal and terrifying sound. Tyrion recoils, his eyes wide with fear and reverence. I, on the other hand, remain motionless, frozen in dread. Salem, the Queen of the Grim, always so controlled, now seems like a furious demon, an uncontrolled force of nature. "The foolish human," Salem seethes from her throne, her voice cold and resonant. "Such insolence! Even Ozma had the decency to fight with grace and honor, but that mongrel, I will make him understand his place. In all my years serving her, I've never seen her direct so much emotion toward someone who wasn't the immortal wizard Ozma." Suddenly, Salem turns to me, her eyes still glowing red with an intensity that makes me shudder. "What's?" Her voice is a command, grabbing all of my attention. "Find this human, bring him to me, alive." I swallow hard, trying to maintain composure. "Of course, my queen," I responded promptly, lowering my head, "but I need his name, kingdom of origin, and a description." Salem approaches floating, her face mere inches from mine. I can smell the metallic scent of her breath, like blood and iron. "He's a young huntsman, fair skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, standing near 2 meters, 6, 5 tall, wields a giant two-handed sword with great power and experience. He could be the most powerful huntsman I've ever witnessed in battle." "I still need a name and kingdom of origin, my queen," I say, trying to remain respectful. Salem furrows her brows, her eyes returning to their normal color. "These are the only details you'll get, Watts. If you don't want to die, you'd better bring me results quickly." I swallow again, the fear tightening in my chest. I lower my head, trying to maintain my composure. "My apologies, my queen. I will find him immediately." I leave the room, my heart pounding in my chest. I pull out my scroll, my fingers trembling as I type quickly, searching a list of possible suspects that match Salem's description. Blonde huntsman, blue eyes, wielding a giant sword. The information is vague, but it's all I have. The list appears on the screen, names and faces scrolling before my eyes. I stop at a familiar name that I have been investigating. "Jaune Arc," I whisper out loud. "Does the inventor of Atlas study at Beacon? But it's obvious by his combat performance records that he's not the man Salem is after." I continue the search, my mind racing, trying to find any clue that might lead me to the right target. The fear of failing and facing Salem's wrath drives me, as every second counts.
I hope you enjoyed my work. If you'd like more, check out the links in the video description. Goodbye for now.